see you because I'm going to look at some notes I've got here. So there we go. Tell me when you're recording and we're ready to go.
All right, you're good.
And if Andy pops on, please, I can't see it because I'm just looking at my script.
Yep. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, just put him on and so on. Thank you. Because we were gonna do an interchange. Okay, tell me when you're ready.
You're good.
Good morning, everybody. April 24th, 2020. I'm very pleased to be here. I'm delighted you're on. I'm honored that everybody's on, that people that are on the call. And as usual, I start my little mantra of every Friday, and that is Augmandino. The slaughterhouse of failure is not in my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. That has to be, for me, the thing that maintains front and right in front of me at all times, and everybody, because it's too easy to weaken and slacken. So before I do anything, I'd like to give a shout out, a very, very loud shout out. The theme today, by the way, is fear. So as opposite to fear could be courage. So I want to give a very loud shout out to the first responders, the doctors, the firemen, the nurses, janitors, ambulance drivers, hospital employees, absolutely everybody that's involved in the hospitals, in the healthcare industry, that is actually out there in the front lines in saving lives of people at obviously risk of their own lives, since the virus has no established pattern. You know, think about it. The theme today is fear. And everybody at some time or other will have and undergo some kind of fear. And I'm going to talk about some of those. But think about these guys out there now, in the first responders and the people who are out there and doing their daily work, the nurses and so on, the doctors and people working in the hospitals and so on. They have to overcome the fear of contamination, the fear that something will happen to them. I have a friend who in Treviglio, I mentioned it before, which is in Bergamo. He's a doctor, and he was working in the hospital, and he actually contracted the virus, and he was in a coma for 21 days. 21 days. And he finally, thank God, came out of it. But the point is that this is a challenge to everybody's, to all these professional people, to their core beings. How brave are you? I mean, so in that hospital, 24 doctors died. This is about 3 weeks ago that my information is there. I don't know how many died since, but 24 doctors actually died in that hospital in Treviglio. So, you know, nobody is over the possibilities of having some kind of a catastrophe. And if you go and be in front of it all the time, that requires huge courage. So today I'm hoping Andy Feltz will join us. He's an entrepreneur, a leader of leaders, medical health professional, high school volleyball coach. So he'll, I hope, come on in a moment. The subject is fear. What is fear? Well, I used to say false evidence appearing real, because it's in our minds. That's why my subjects are always about mindset. Other people, Jay Shetty says, forget everything and run. That's not an option. He doesn't say we should do that. On the contrary, he says it's not an option. Forget everything and run. Not an option. Face everything and rise. That's better. The cause of procrastination is fear. Fear of failure, expectations, fear of our abilities, having regrets. The root of fear is self-doubt. Whenever this happens, we procrastinate. We procrastinate when we're not sure. We procrastinate when something is not clear to us. We procrastinate when basically We're afraid. So, is fear a friend or foe? Here we go. I watched one time Mark Cuban on the program Shark Tank, and he jumped in buying a business because he had fear of missing out, FOMO. He actually said that. He said, I don't know much about this thing. It makes sense, but I've got fear of missing out just in case it becomes something really good. So fear could be your friend or your foe. FORO, running out of stock, groceries. And here's something, for example, that is funny because, and I wanted to mention, and I will mention it in a second, where we can make something funny, not funny, but light of it, to bring out the fear. So I'll go to that for a second. My wife has a fear of running out. She stocks groceries, my gosh, 2 years of groceries. So we still got supplies of Hurricane from 2 years ago. I'll mention that in a second. Fear of rejection. That's a huge one. Many people have the fear of rejection. What will they say? What will I say? What will they think? If I say this, what will they say? And then what do I say? And what if they don't like it? Fear of rejection. But there's also fear of success, false. Fear of success. Believe it or not, in Spanish, there's a saying, once you kill the tiger, you're afraid of the skin. I mean, it's a saying. So fear of success, we work on something and then we say, well, what if I'm successful? Oh my gosh, the responsibilities that come with that. What's going to happen then? Fear of the unknown, FOTU, fear of the unknown. This is also uncharted, where we're not sure of where we're going, we're not sure of what we're doing. Causes fear. Basically, procrastination is the root of self-doubt. Fear of our own abilities, self-doubt. So we have to remove self-doubt. The abilities, talents, skills, or network is where we can focus on. So it's important that we have total belief in ourselves and we get over the fear of anything that is in our path. Self-doubt disappears when we start something. In fact, I want to just skip to the end 1 second, because Scott Bennett gave us a poem last week. And at the end of it, it says, whatever you can do or dream, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. William Hutchison Murray. So you've got to start it. You've got to begin to do something. And if you don't start doing it, you're going to continue to procrastinate. So self-doubt disappears when you start something. Starting, you naturally remove the self-doubt because you've actually put into motion something. Starting is just doing and being ready without too much thought. I mentioned something one of these a little while ago about my fear of heights. I'm terrified, but it's because of it's maybe an excuse, but it's a problem I had when I had cerebral malaria. And that's the only lingering thing that happened, was I terrified of heights. And in Utah, I got onto the ski lift trying to just not think about it. And I got on with Ryan Lucci, And man, after a few minutes, I was having panic attacks. I was sweating. I was wanting to jump off the thing. So, but that's when I let the thoughts come in. So it's very difficult to overcome, panic attacks and fear. So to start with, ask yourself what small things you can do to get closer to your end goals, to get rid of the fear. To gain traction, you've got to start with some small wins to keep the momentum going. The small win is what? You make a call and you get rejected. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to do this again. You make another call, another reject. Oh my God. Then suddenly you have somebody says, wow, I'm glad you called. That's just what I was wanting. Suddenly the world changes. Wow. Now you've had a taste of what can be. And if you have a taste of what can be, and you have that feeling of exhilaration, it's a feeling of wow. You might post something and get a reply. Somebody says, wow, that's interesting. Tell me more. Reach out to a friend. By doing, that's what we have to do. Your self-doubt will disappear. Don't overthink anything. Paralysis by analysis. Don't do that. Just do it. Break down the goal into manageable parts. How do you eat an elephant? One part at a time, one bite at a time. Do the little things first, little steps. Evaluate what makes you tick. What inspired you? What made you go forward? What made you feel good? That will overcome the fear. I imagine, because I cannot be there, but I imagine that when in the hospital, a nurse or a doctor or the staff or anybody involved find a patient that comes out of a coma and recovers, I believe that is probably the fuel that makes all these brave people go forward. When they taste a little bit of their emotional success, that they've actually done something which is measurable. They can see the people. So, break down your goal into manageable parts, but then the wins that you have will contribute to your momentum. So there's a guy called Mike Lewis. He was Bain Capital guy, and his ambition was to become a squash player. And he started a book called Start Making Your Jump, jumping into something new. So where we are in our business, we've got everything done for us. Everything. There's nothing we have to reinvent. There's nothing we have to find to make it work. It's all done. The systems are there. The company's there. We've got a 36-year-old company, 75 scientists, 100 within, and we're rated by Forbes magazine as sort of an economic Bible among the 100 most trustworthy companies in the US. Trustworthy. Wow, what's that word? We don't even know what that word is anymore. Trustworthy? Seriously? Yes, we have it. We've got the passport to the future. What's that? Science, technology, innovation. We've got it all. So, if we want to do this business, if we want to make the jump, if we want to start making your jump into this business, or we want to jump further in this business, we should know that we have this tremendous backing of this power, the power of this company. So the only risk we have is in the cobwebs of our minds. The risk we have of failure is in the cobwebs in our minds. That's all. Get rid of the cobwebs. Get rid of any doubt. Get rid of uncertainty. Get rid of anything that is not positive. last week, great, good, thank you. Andy, glad you're on.
Sorry, Lawrence. I was a little delayed. Had some work responsibilities that came up.
I can imagine you've got 3,000 nursing homes. So kudos to Andy Phelps. Here's one of these people who's a leader of leaders. And just in case you missed it, he's an entrepreneur, a leader of leaders, medical health professional, high school volleyball coach. So, and he's also a spiritual guide for a lot of people in Jamaica. So Andy, thank you for being on as we discussed.
So you're talking about fear today, Lawrence?
Sure. So would you, I was just saying that the only cobweb we have, the only inhibition, the only factor that we need to overcome is in our minds, the cobwebs of uncertainty and fear. Would you like to comment on anything, Andy?
Sure. I mean, fear holds us back in many things. Fear of rejection can limit your relationships with people, right? You're afraid to talk to people. You end up without a lady friend or a significant other, depending on your proclivities. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there in order to find friends, mates, etc. In business, you have to take risks, and you have to come. And the way you manage by preparedness, right? So if you prepare yourself, the fear will go down, and your ability to act goes up. And there's a lot of fear in the world right now. People are afraid to look people in the eye. They're afraid to cough. They're afraid to touch stuff. And how do you overcome that fear? Is you prepare yourself, right? So I'm going to have a bottle of hand sanitizer in my pocket, and I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to read books that allow me to understand the psyche of other people so that I can have fruitful conversations with them. I'm going to look at my whiteboard every day and plan my strategy for how I'm going to grow my PharmaNext business. I'm going to pick up the phone and call people like I had to do all morning. I've been on the phone all day talking to people about, their fears essentially and how we can overcome them when it comes to nursing home care. So I think, you prepare so that you aren't afraid.
Preparing is something also difficult, because when we prepare, we have those two famous wolves that I keep talking about. One is a positive, one is a negative one. And if you feed the negative one, that will prosper. So to prepare, you've also got to have the strength to look forward and to the end goal, to the goals that you want to achieve, and that will overcome the fear of not succeeding. Would you agree?
Right. Yeah, of course. Having that mindset of that I'm going to overcome, I'm going to succeed. I had plenty of classmates say to me, Andy, you don't want to do that crazy thing. Just stay in your lane. Be a normal optometrist. It's way less risky. You don't want to go do something crazy. And thank God I didn't listen to them. Right? I'd be stuck in an exam room every day looking at eyeballs, which is fun, but not every day. I don't want to do that. So having to take risks and get outside of yourselves is a big thing, and getting around people who take risks. And when I coach my volleyball team, it's my job to, during practice, put them under pressure, so that when we are in a match situation, the anxiety of that competition, that contest, goes down, because anxiety slows you down. It reduces your reaction speed. It reduces your performance, your ability to think. And so if I can raise the anxiety in practice, so put that pressure on them in practice, then when it's time for the game, when the lights come on, they're relaxed, right? So think about that as every presentation you make in the PharmaNext business, or everybody you talk to, even if you're reselling people, or re-recruiting people, it allows you to just be that more relaxed and comfortable the next time and the next time and the next time. Every time you go and bump up against the wall, it's like, hey, that was great. That was practice. That's going to make me better for the game. The lights come on. I'll be ready to rock.
So you mentioned anxiety. Anxiety causes distraction. And the way to overcome distraction is through traction. This is Dan Perk's thing. And in fact, I got a book about traction. So anxiety, it's a distraction, and it's not good. So as Andy said, you just got to get in there and do it.
Right. Don't be afraid to fail, right? We say that all the time, but it's true.
Exactly.
And if you prepare yourself, but along the way, you will then know the things that you've done a little bit less than ideal, and you make the corrections. It's self-coaching. So it's another volleyball thing is, we want the kids to be able to self-coach. So, okay, something didn't go right. What broke down in my technique or my preparedness there, so that I can get better for the next time. And the next time may not be perfect either, but we continue to do, self-evaluate, make minor corrections, and we just keep going and going and going. And if we keep doing that, we'll get the results we want, and we'll grow. And just, as long as you have fun with it and enjoy the game, make it fun, the anxiety and the fear go down.
Right. And something important also, this is something that is, I think, interesting. We should acknowledge our fear, be grateful for the fear, because it's there to protect us as well. For example, it's fear, anxiety is a storehouse of wisdom. In other words, why are we fearful? Why is a child not fearful? A child has got no fear because he's got no history of any fearful event. A child is fearless. We become fearful when we start allowing negative things that have happened to us, or things that are not totally the way we wanted, to start to dominate us. And then we become afraid, and then we become uncertain, and then we have all these cobwebs in our mind. But a child has no fear. So that's why, when a little child, you say he's going to put his hand in the water. No, hold on, this is hot water. This is a stove. Oh, what's a stove? Well, stick your hand. Oh, wow, it's hot. So fear is something we should actually understand, that can be our friend, because it is the storehouse of our wisdom. So would you agree with that, Andy?
Yeah, sure. You learn as you go. I mean, you go to the ski resort and watch the little kids go zooming down the mountain, with absolutely no fear. And then as they get a little older and they start to wipe out, they start to get a little more cautious. And that's how we learn. We hope we avoid massive injury along the way. But experience teaches us, right? And but no experience, you get no lessons.
That's it.
So if all we do is analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze, and we never get experience, then we haven't really prepared. We've just thought our way into a circle, and that's not any way to live, in my opinion.
I totally agree. In fact, one of the things I was thinking about is stay around people that look more like your future than your past. So if you look into the future, think about it as a white canvas of nothing. What do you want in it? Paint your future there, and get without any limitations on thinking. So, talking about fear, I just thinking, my wife has total fear of running out, FORO. So whenever there's a storm, we've still got batteries and light bulbs and water bottles from 3 years ago, these big bottles of water from 3 years ago from the hurricanes that she's worried about. Causes irrational behavior. So with this coronavirus, fear again, irrational fear, because, we've just got to understand that if we allow it to dominate, it will, but don't allow it to dominate. So there are two of us, and we've got 2 fridges that are 6 foot, they're taller than I am anyway, 6 feet tall, like normal, everybody. We've got enough food in there to feed Namibia for a month. I've actually got a tan from opening the fridge so many times. 200 times a day I get into the fridge and have a look at what's going on there, and I eat 27 times a day. Why? Probably because I'm bored or stressed, not bored, but the point is that the fear causes us to do irrational things. We're not hoarding. I mean, we bought the normal amount of toilet paper and everybody, we still never did any hoarding of any kind, except this fear of running out food-wise. This is something that, you know, my wife is, and I must say she's amazing because we've never run out of anything at any time. So it's better to analyze the problem than to act on it without rationale. So if there's something that we're faced with, well, as you said at the beginning, Andy, think about it, plan it, analyze the problem, rather than just act on something without rationale. What's the rationale for getting so much food? It means I've got to eat it all. I've got fear of throwing away food. I'm from Africa.
And don't go to the grocery store without a list, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. 100%. 100%. So there's something I just wanted to mention, that we're in the same storm. It's the same storm for everybody, but we're all in different boats. Some of us have a bigger boat. Some of us are more experienced sailors in storms. Some of us smaller boats, less experience. This is a time to help those people with smaller boats and less experience. So Nourish the Children is one of those entities that we can tangibly help. And we know that they need it. We know there's going to be probably famine in good parts of Africa and in Asia. So I think the Nourish the Children, Andy, you've got a very good formula for that. And I'd like you to mention that, please, because I think we should all adopt some kind of a formula for Nourish the Children ongoing, where we're able to help people, in this case, weather the storm a little better.
Oh, sure, Lawrence. It's a great program for you to have. For those of you who have not been to headquarters, to our symposium, to our forum, to see the tour and hear Scott Bennett explain, this program that New Skin is about. It's fantastic, and you can get on the website and look at some of the videos they've got there as well. So New Skin has put together one easy way that you can contribute is you can donate your ADR points to the Force for Good Foundation, which then will be converted into these bags of Vitameal. Or what I do is I look at my organization every month, how many brand representatives I have. I buy a bag of Vitameal for each of those and donate it. That's my New Skin tithe, essentially. So it works out pretty close to the math, maybe a little bit more generous, but easy come, easy go, as they say. So so that way I know that, based on the success of my organization, me personally, I'm going to provide so many bags of Vitameal to the donation pile. And I just like that. It keeps me engaged and gives me motivation to break more brand reps.
Yeah, I think what goes around comes around, in terms of Nourish the Children, in terms of our own generosities in our lives. And I think I've been very blessed. I keep on getting surprises of amazing things that happen. And I don't know where it comes from, but somewhere during my life, I've tried to walk my talk of integrity and of being altruistic in what I do. So I think this is something that our company allows us to do, because we surround ourselves with like-minded people. We have the possibility to work with people we like, and that are like-minded. I mean, Andy is one of those people. Mike Cook is also one of the leaders I have. Ryan Lucci. We've got a lot of different people that we begin to love and love in a way. When we're kids, it's easy to make friends because we're all equal. As we get older, it's more difficult to make friends because of vested interest. Somebody's trying to make friends with you because of whatever interest. But in this business, what we have, in my opinion, is we've got a way where we can do a business, and it's a pure business, and we're all working as a team, and we help each other, and we become friends. If I was to say now, who are my best friends, I would say my best friends are people that I have met in this company, working with them on this team in this particular case as well. Some of them are on here, particularly Andy, Mike, and Lucci, and Ryan, and so on, and Scott. You know, and this is something that I'm very, very grateful to. I don't know, Andy, if you.
I mean, I just thought of this, but I would look at all my, what I would call my close friends, and the ones that are really my close friends, that they've got two things that, you know, would be prevalent in those relationships. One is we either went through something together of achievement, or we went through something together of adversity. And those two things have one of those two things has bound us together in a relationship. And so none of those strong relationships I have as what I would call my, you know, best friends are people that we just sat around and did nothing together. That never bound us together as friends, right? We either achieved something or we faced adversity together. So that's kind of interesting. I just thought of that.
100%. The adversities are particularly bonding. You can see when you've got a tragedy somewhere, that's when you see who your friends are. And also in our business, where the success is, that's where we've got, and not only our business, in our life. So any last parting shot, Andy?
That was great. Sorry I was late, but I'm late again to the next thing. So I got to run. Love you, brother. Everybody be good. Peace.
Blessings. Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for being on the call. Scott, thank you as always. You're the one who makes everything happen. We're all, under your leadership, and I'm very grateful for that. And you're a leader who leads by example, and there's no rah-rah. I mean, you make everything happen. Our calls and everything else, and our flying in Utah. The next one we're thinking about is in June, and it would be June the 11th to the 13th if it happens. And in the meanwhile, don't waste this crisis. Keep working. We placed 3 scanners. I placed one yesterday. Ryan placed 2 day before yesterday. Michael, that's in Michael's team. We're continuing to advance. We're continuing to grow. And this is really a time to make hay while the sun shines for us. Unfortunately, it's not shining for everybody, but it is for us. So go for it. Thank you very much.